Position B, there's open calls from Congress for Geithner to resign for criminal indictments. The Federal Reserve does come into Texas. What they do does affect Texas. We could have a state investigation. Ron Paul has said that that could be one of the places against the banks and others would be grand juries. As governor, would you call for investigations of the private banking cartel?
Absolutely.
Now, shifting gears in the time we have with you, obviously you've seen the media make the point, the parallel, that just like Brown took that Democratic seat in Massachusetts, the people of Texas are sick of big government, fake Republicans like Hutchinson and, of course, Perry, and that you surging in the polls, even if you don't win and you have a good chance of people get behind you right now and spread the word, that this is a message to other libertarians, constitutionalists in the fetters, true constitutionalists, that this race has national import, just like the situation in Massachusetts.
It absolutely has national import. Alex, we've got a lot of work to do. This is about more than just, showing up somewhere at a rally. You've got to go vote. And so many people say, oh, yeah, I'm voting, or, oh, yeah, I've voted, when in fact they did not vote. Please make a list of people that you know that are supporting this campaign, and then go to your courthouse during the early voting period and look to see if those people have voted or not. And if they haven't voted, call them, make sure they get to the poll. We have got to vote. When we vote, we're going to win this race. We're not going to cause a runoff. We are going to win this race on March 2nd.
Perry won the primary before with 500,000 votes. I mean, we've got a couple million Ron Paul supporters and true patriots in Texas.
But they've got to vote. And so many people say, yes, I will, and then it gets right down to the wire, and they do not vote. We've got to vote. We've got to hold one another accountable to
Tell folks Election Day, Deborah.
Vote.
Tell folks Election Day.
Early voting starts February 16th. It runs for 12 straight days, Monday through the following Friday, 2 weeks after, Monday through Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and the next Monday through Friday. Friday afternoon at 5 o'clock, early voting is over. Election day is March 2nd from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Please do not wait until March 2nd. Go vote during that early voting period. You can vote at any polling location in your county. Go vote. Make sure your family votes. Make sure your neighbors vote. We'll win this race in Texas.
All right, moving quickly because we've only got about 6-7 minutes left with you, Deborah Medina, and we'll have you back Sunday at 5:30 Central for the aftermath of the debate. But obviously, I'm sure you've heard about the old Austin Gun Show got shut down with no law, and the police just went on the news and said, "Hey, you can't have private sales," and basically intimidated HEB to shut it down. They've gotten a new center, the Target Center. Perry said that if the feds try to shut that down, it will be harassment. What about the harassment, the racketeering that just happened, the violation of the 10th Amendment? As governor, what would you do when the city of Austin and the BATFE, the ATF, try to shut down legal, lawful gun shows?
I think when you have a governor who sets the tone and reminds us that this is a republic, we follow law, and hold our elected officials and our agencies accountable to following that law, you wouldn't have that kind of thing happening in the first place. This is not a democracy. We don't operate under popular public opinion. We follow the law, and when the law is not followed in Texas, it doesn't matter whether it's the first time. I mean, we shouldn't have to wait for it to be the 500th time that the law was broken, and that's essentially what the governor said. Oh, we'll let them get away with it this time. If they do it again, we'll get after them then. We're going to follow the law, or we're not going to follow the law. Set laws that are just and proper, and then follow those laws. I have, as you know, advocated less restriction on the sale of guns, not more. It's a shame that the governor, who professes to be a Second Amendment guy, doesn't stand up for gun sales in Texas.
Deborah Medina running for governor in the Republican primary. Get out there and vote for her. She's coming up in just a few weeks in early voting. I have another Twitter question here that came into the Real Alex Jones Twitter account. Tommy Daniels Jr. asked, question for Deborah Medina, what is your position on the campaign for open carry of firearms in Texas?
I think that it's another diversion for us. We should not have to have law. What do we not understand about shall not be infringed? Let's remove the restrictions to gun ownership and gun possession. Make sure that people are able to buy a gun, learn to use it, and keep it with them without regulation by the state, without regulation by the Fed. If someone uses that gun in a way that causes harm to people or property, we have laws on the books to address that, and we should use those laws. But we ought not be infringing on people's right. We cannot take away the God-given, inalienable right to protect my own life. People need to buy guns, learn to use them, keep them with them, shouldn't have to be jumping through hoops, shouldn't have to have special legislation to open carry, shouldn't have to take a CHL class, ought to be able to buy that gun and keep it.
We already have open carry. The police will just arrest you without a law. Just like you can't put a rifle in your gun rack, they'll arrest you. There's no law. They're lawless. One last Twitter question from Jay Long. He asked, would you please ask Deborah what she's going to do about the superhighway plans in Texas if elected?
There won't be the superhighway, certainly in the way that it's been proposed, either as the Trans-Texas Corridor, the Port-to-Plains Highway, the North American Supercorridor, by any other name. It is an abuse of private property in Texas. It is a dismantling of our sovereignty as a nation and as a state. It is an allegiance and an alliance with the North American Union and other one world order agendas. It is bad for Texas. We have got to have an audit of TxDOT. We've got to have studies of transportation from independent people, not people aligned with this big transportation machine. We've got to have transparency with the use of tax dollars in Texas.
We're almost out of time. We've only got 2 minutes, Deborah, because you've got to go. But I'd just love for you to be our governor. You are so good. You are so right. I mean, it reminds me that TxDOT told the legislature, you can't audit us and see our books with foreign companies in Spain like Centra and Zachary of Australia. But in closing, in the 2 minutes we've got left with you, I've got two questions for you. One statement. I think you should go on the attack, as you did, but really forcefully, and say Texas has a choice. If you want more of the same or true freedom, go with Deborah Medina. Please be even more aggressive. People are ready for you to do it. That's my advice. Really, we need a big bomb politically to go off in their face in the info war. How are you going after Perry and K-Baby? And then secondarily, how do we support you going in to next month with the early voting and then into the election at the end of the month?
Well, I'm going to go after both of them on their record and on their failure to articulate a plan to restore freedom and prosperity for Texas. And you're absolutely right. I'm hitting both hard. We're drawing votes from both camps. We're drawing votes from all over Texas. We're going to continue to do that. We need elbow grease, shoe leather, and dollars. If you can help us with any of those things, prayer cover is great. Any of the four and all that you can apply to this campaign, we have a real opportunity here in Texas. We can win this race, win it fair and square, win it clean away, just like we won the last debate. We won that debate hands down. Every poll said Medina won that debate. That's we Texans advocating the message of freedom that our founders staked their life, their liberty, and their sacred honor for. The freedom that those kids in Tiananmen Square died for. We can win in Texas. Elbow grease, shoe leather, dollars, prayer cover. Let's get it done.
And regardless, resistance is victory. You're out there injecting real issues into the debate at the state level like Ron Paul did nationally and internationally. Standing up, we win. Now look at the banks about to get audited. Look at the private Federal Reserve on the run. Look at the flu hoax exposed. Look at the carbon tax in Copenhagen falling apart. The whole New World Order is out in the open now, and the peasants are getting their pitchforks, Deborah.
Hallelujah.
All right, we'll talk to you. I'm gonna hand you over to my producer right before you go. Deborah, we'll talk to you Sunday during the 4 to 6 p.m. program. Thank you for joining us on Sunday.
Perfect. Thank you.
And good luck tomorrow night. Everybody pray for her. Very, very exciting that is going on and happening. And look, I got your Twitter questions in. And starting tomorrow, I kind of forgot about it for a few weeks. We're calling. The problem is we forgot for a few weeks, and then there's over 1,000 phone calls in the comment line. But we're going to continue to play some of those on the show. So definitely look forward to that. Also, but again, 1 minute comment line where you can go in and make your quick comment. Problem is we have to wade through people that go in there and make like 30, 40, 50 a day, and that's most of the. There's probably 300 people that called, but 20 or 30 of them left like 100 messages. So it's crazy. Oh, man. I mean, having this much grassroots support, having these many tens of millions of listeners in the aggregate, millions that tune in every week. We look at the numbers for prisonplanet.com and Infowars.com. There were over 5 million different IP addresses that came into Infowars.com the last month. 5 million. Just over 4 million for Prison Planet. That's 5 million different people. At one, 4 million on the other. Infowars had over 50 million page views. That's not hits, folks. A hit, they trick you with that number. That's every graphic or whatever.